Today I'm talking a little bit about being self-employed and time management. First of all, an apology. I feel rotten at the minute. It's not a sympathy vote, but I'm full of the lurgy. Generally, if I'm feeling rotten, the last thing in the world that I want to do is put a video out. But it kind of triggered some thoughts on time management when you're self-employed. And I thought it would actually be a really good time to put a little video together about how you can best utilize your time when you're self-employed, and how how I view time management and how I handle things. So one of the big downsides of being self-employed is that you can't really take time off. If you take time off, you're not making any money. Simple as that. You don't generally get sick pay while you're self-employed. So most self-employed people just kind of battle on and continue working when they're poorly. Certainly the vast majority of people who I know who work for themselves very rarely have any time off at all, unless they've literally kind of broken bones or something like that. And even then, the problem is when you're feeling like this is that you're not productive. You're not putting 100% into anything that you're doing when you're not very well. You need to give yourself time to get better. Sometimes I can find it can work both ways, depending on how I'm feeling. If it's just a little bit of a cold, I tend to just kind of plough on through, and I find I just get better quicker by not stopping, by just kind of forgetting about it and getting on with it. But sometimes you can feel so rotten that that's just not going to happen. And you know when you're feeling like that. And at the minute, I feel a bit like that. I'm tired, I'm lethargic, I'm certainly not in any fit state to be doing anything with power tools in a workshop. I'm not particularly in the mood for playing drums at the minute. But it doesn't mean that everything has to grind to a halt. Having a handle on a few different things, a few different aspects of your business can be really handy. And it kind of harks back to other videos I've done on record keeping and keeping a handle on where you are with your business. Because if you've got a good handle on what your business is doing well and what it's not doing well, now is a really good time to kind of look into that in a little bit more detail, or to kind of work off the back of that information. So I'm going to give you an example here. I'm purely going to focus on YouTube because I'm making a video on YouTube, and you might as well know a little bit more background about that. So at the moment, I've got 3 YouTube channels. Not by design, it's just ended up being like that. I've never set out with the intention of having 3 YouTube channels. Trust me, it's a pain in the neck. I would rather just have one channel. It's hard enough to keep one channel up to date, never mind 3. But on the flip side, it does mean that not all my eggs are in one basket and stuff like that. But it does mean that obviously channel growth is going to be much slower because I can't put out that many videos. It's just physically too time consuming. Anyway, so I've got obviously this channel. I've got my beginner drums channel, which was really my first proper YouTube channel. And then I've also got my Gosforth Handyman channel, which is my maker channel, because I make things and fix things, and I put it on YouTube as part of the work that I do. But what I want to focus on here is the time that I put into each one of those channels. And if I didn't have any sort of handle on how those channels were doing, if I couldn't go onto YouTube and get YouTube to show me a graph of views or subscriber count over time, I would probably still be beavering away putting videos out on the Beginner Drums channel. Now, the trouble is with the Beginner Drums channel is that those videos take an enormous amount of effort to put together. You know, you're talking about fully full multi-channel audio, all synced up to video, with maybe 3 or 4 cameras going at the same time, which all have to be synchronized, and then the editing process for all of that. You know, I can run into videos that are maybe 30 or 40 tracks of video and audio information that all have to be edited and synchronized together. This channel and the Gosforth Handyman channel are pretty easy to maintain because it doesn't take as much effort to put one of these videos out, especially something like this, which is just me talking to a camera. Now, the interesting thing is when you go onto something like Social Blade and you compare the three channels over time. And this is something that I constantly keep an eye on. It's the equivalent of you keeping an eye on your business profit over time. You need to be doing that. You need to have a graph of how profitable your business is, and is it flatlining? Is it growing exponentially? Or is it just straight line growth over time? Is it making a loss, but at what point can you predict that it's going to become profitable? If it's constantly flatlining at a loss, it's a completely pointless exercise. You might as well just knock it on the head now. If it's showing signs of exponential growth, then that's something that you need to consider putting more time into, especially if you can do this on a per product basis or something like that. You need to consider what work is worth the most amount of your time. You can, on one hand, say that the most profitable thing should be worth the most time. But if that was the case for me, I would have knocked YouTube on the head a long time ago. YouTube makes very, very little money for me. But what I can do is I can look at a graph, and the graph shows me that for my Gosforth Handyman channel, growth is exponential. My beginner drums channel, it's taken over. It's not quite flatlining, but it's certainly not great growth. The Andy Matt drums channel is more straight line, but at a steeper rate than the beginner drums channel. So for me, the things that are worth the effort, the time and effort, are the Gosforth Handyman channel and the Andy Matt drums channel. The beginner drums channel at the moment just isn't worth the time and effort that it takes to put those videos together. It takes too long to put those videos together for any kind of return that I'm getting back from it. And it's not showing any signs that that's going to change. Subscribers continue to come in, but there's no sign of that doing anything dramatic. Unfortunately, it's probably just something that the market's already quite flooded with people putting drum videos out, and it's quite a niche thing. There's not that many drummers in the world at the end of the day. So, my point is that by having a handle on business growth and graphs, this is why I love spreadsheets, and I love just making a spreadsheet of this sort of information, of not turnover, of profit over time. And from that, it's amazing, once you put that onto a graph, honestly, a picture paints 1,000 words. It just instantly, you can look at that graph and say, this is worth pursuing, or this needs to be knocked on the head straight away. This is a complete waste of time. Anyway, coming back to me feeling like cack at the minute. The point is, at the moment, I could be in the workshop making stuff for customers or out on customer sites doing jobs, doing a not particularly good job because I feel rubbish, I've got no energy, and I just wouldn't be working efficiently. But it doesn't mean that I need to have a day off work. I have paperwork coming out my ears at the minute. If I sat down and did nothing but paperwork for the next 6 months, I still wouldn't be ahead of myself. I've got so much paperwork to catch up on. I've got my website to update. My websites, in fact, all of my websites for everything that I do are massively out of date. All of those need updated. I've got Facebook pages up to update. I've got Instagram to update. I've got endless amount of filing to do. I've got quotes to do for customers. I've got materials to order. I've got solutions to design for customers where I can't order the material until I've designed the solution. And then once I've designed it, I can order it. This is the stuff that I'm best doing at the minute while I'm feeling like this. Admittedly, being behind a camera probably isn't best use of my time at the minute, but I'm kind of making a point here. My point is that if you can have a handle on A, what's worth putting the time into, and B, maybe having a list of things that need to be done that you can then prioritize, or you can pick from those lists depending on the frame of mind that you're in at the time or the circumstances of your business. You know, you might be laid up in the house for whatever reason and you can't get out the house. It could be that you've got a child off school, and you need to be in the house, but you can still get on with things in the house. You can then pick from that list of stuff that you can get on with while you're working from home, as opposed to the list of things that you can only do on a customer site, or you can only do in the workshop, or you can only do in a place that isn't at home. And keep those things for, keep them for your good weather days. Keep them for your, when you're just feeling in the right frame of mind for doing that sort of work. I mean, I'm not saying only do that sort of work when it's good weather, obviously. But the point is that if you keep a list of things that just kind of background tasks of running a business, background things that need to be done, you can pick from that list, so that when you are feeling a bit poorly, or the weather's not good, or you've got a child off school, or your car's broken down, or whatever, you can pick from that list and you can get that sort of work done. And that way you're not wasting time while you're stuck in the house. You can get on with all these other things that need to be done. My hands are going crazy at the minute. What's going on there? Anyway, it's because I've got the recorder sitting on my knee at the minute, because I just can't be bothered to set anything up properly at the minute. I just feel terrible. Anyway, so as I say, what I'm going to do, I'm going to plough on. I'm going to catch up on accounts, and especially because my limited company accounts run to mid-year. They don't run to April. So I need by June-ish to get on top of this anyway. So I'm just going to catch up on all of that and give myself a bit of a head start. And then I can go back in the workshop and I can go back out to customer sites tomorrow when I'm feeling a bit better. Today, I'm just not doing that. I'll not work effectively. It'll not be efficient use of my time. All I'll end up doing is either doing a bad job of things, or taking ages to do something that would normally take us 5 minutes. Or I'll make mistakes and I'll just have to start it all again anyway. I've been there before, where you try and get jobs done when you're feeling like rubbish, and you end up just knocking the whole thing on the head. You're much better when you're in the right frame of mind, ploughing on with those jobs. But at the minute, let's just pick from the jobs that aren't dependent on being out of the house and feeling in tip-top condition. Even when you're feeling poorly, as a self-employed person, there's a million other jobs that you can be getting on with. You don't have to be, even if you are laid up in bed. I could easily do most of this paperwork in bed, put some music on, sit there typing numbers into a spreadsheet or something. Fine, not a bother. And even if you're not ill, having a handle on your business's performance will allow you to make better decisions on what is worth your time and effort at that particular moment in time. For example, I will come back to the Beginner Drums channel, because I do enjoy making the videos for that channel. But it's way, way, way down the priority list, you know what I mean? It's not, at the moment, I've got the Gosforth Handyman channel that's growing exponentially. I've got the Andy Mac Drums channel that's growing steadily. And this is the other thing Social Blade lets you do. If you are a YouTuber and you're wanting to just get an idea, you can compare up to 3 channels side by side. And I'll show you this. I'll show you these graphs. So here's total video views for Gosforth Handyman, Andy Mac Drums and Beginner Drums. And you can see the Andy Mac Drums channel, steady growth, a little bit steeper than the Beginner Drums channel. There's no sign of the Beginner Drums channel catching up. As I say, it's the Beginner Drums channel that takes all the effort. What's the point in me putting so much effort into that channel when it's never going to catch up with that? And then look at the Gosforth Handyman channel. That takes no effort. Well, no, it doesn't take no effort. But all I'm doing is filming myself doing jobs that I would be doing anyway. So I've got the effort of filming myself. Don't get us wrong. It takes a lot more time and effort to do a job while moving cameras around and all that sort of thing. And then obviously you've got the editing and stuff like that. But look at the growth. The growth is looking great. And then and by the way, I'm looking purely on video views here, not subscribers. Subscribers, it's a bit like your profit and turnover, vanity and sanity thing. On YouTube, it's views that count. Subscribers are great, but you could have 1 million subscribers. If no one's watching your videos, it's kind of pointless. Views is, don't get us wrong, subscribers are important. Please subscribe. But views are more important. I'm getting more views from people just searching for my videos and watching them than I get from subscribers. But then if we compare on Social Blade, future prediction views, and it has this great feature where it'll just show you a straight line on if I did nothing else. This is what my channel will do. And what this tells me is that probably by about September this year, even if I didn't release another single video, the view count on my Gosforth Handyman channel is going to overtake my Beginner Drums channel. And that's for a channel that takes very, very little effort to maintain, versus my Beginner Drums channel, which takes an enormous amount of effort to maintain and to produce the videos. My Gosforth Handyman channel, according to this, is going to overtake my Andy Matt Drums channel by January next year. So in 10 months or so, 8 to 10 months, my Gosforth Handyman channel, which is a very, very young channel, I've only had it for 6 months, it's going to overtake both of my other channels that I've had for years and years. So what do you think I should be putting the effort into? And this is the same thing that you need to do as a business owner. You need to make graphs of this sort of thing, because it's not until you see it like this and you extrapolate a straight line over a period of time, or you look at the exponential growth of a product or a service or a particular unit of your business, that you can then focus on what deserves your time and what doesn't deserve your time. Because the most important thing, the biggest thing that I'm short of as a self-employed person is time. If I stopped doing all work now, I've got enough things to get on with for the next 6 months without doing any customer work whatsoever. I wouldn't make any money, but I could spend all of that time, as I say, updating websites, getting up to date on accounts, coming up with better marketing strategies, doing all the things that you need to do as a self-employed person because you don't have a team of people to do it for you. It's not like a corporate where you've got individual departments just looking at this. If you're a sole trader, you've got all of this to do by yourself. Honestly, you would not believe the amount of time that takes up. So by having a handle on this sort of information, you can make much, much better decisions for your business. So all I would say is, if you're having a rubbish day, if you just need, I'm not talking about holidays, I'm talking about days where, for whatever reason, for unplanned reasons, you're stuck in the house. Take that time to sit down, catch up with your accounts, catch up with what's making money and what isn't making money. And then that day will probably be the most productive day of your entire year, if not the most productive day of your business, full stop. Because that day on its own can help you make the decisions that take your business forward. Instead of being a busy fool, continuing to do the same things over and over again that might not be making any money. And this is the other thing that I want to briefly talk about, is busy fool syndrome. And busy fool syndrome is where you're busy all the time, but you're not making any money. And I know loads of people who are self-employed who are in that boat. They are endlessly working, and they're working all hours, but they just continuously feel like they have no money. And this is this busy fool syndrome, where if you don't take a step back to look at what's making money and what's not making money, I've known people who have spent years beavering away on a business only to work out a graph and find out the thing that they've been working on has been running not at a loss, but also not at a profit. It's been running at zero. They might as well have sat and done nothing for 2 years, because that particular thing that they've been doing has resulted in no all it's done is sustain itself as a product. And the same people have then taken a little bit of time off work, or they've just put a bit more effort into working out what's profitable and what's not profitable, and they've knocked out those non-profitable products, or the products that are just flatlining, and then put all their effort into selling the products that are resulting in either steady straight line growth or even exponential growth. And that's what you want for your business at the end of the day. You don't want products that are flatlining. Anyway, so thanks for watching. I hope this has been a vaguely productive use of your time and hopefully my time. Don't forget to subscribe. I know what I said earlier. Subscribers are still important. Not as important as views, but if you've got this far, then you've viewed it anyway. So hit that subscribe button. I do have some hopefully interesting videos in the pipeline, especially I've got one about how much to charge customers. And that's quite a big video that's taking a little bit longer to put together than I first imagined. But I want it to be right, and I don't want to put videos out there that I'm going to regret putting out there. Because at the end of the day, once they're out in the YouTube world, I don't really want to be pulling them down or re-editing them or anything like that. So, yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Post in the comments of any tips on your own use of time and time management, what you do if you're off ill and you're self-employed, or what you do when you're on holiday and you're self-employed. Do you actually give yourself some downtime from time to time, which is another really important thing which I've talked about briefly in my self-employment tips video.